dare you to find me in 2024 a GPU that is brand new that can play all of today's games at cranked 1080p settings. Oh wait, no, I won't, because they don't exist. Although in 2016 they did, and by they I'm talking about one GPU specifically. The 1050 Ti. That's right, with its 4 gigs of VRAM, this card could tackle any 2016 game with 1080p settings cranked to the max. But that was 2016. It's 8 years later. How does she hold up today? Well, that's what we're gonna figure out in today's video, so stick around because you're gonna enjoy it. Before we get to the testing though, let's take a look back in time to 2016. PC gaming was finally starting to make itself known in the mainstream, and on top of that, the Pro version of the 8th gen consoles were dropping, kinda like it is with the PS5 Pro today. And the consoles versus PC community was raging as they always do, each defending their side vigorously. However, this time, PC's side had a trick up their sleeve, the 1050 Ti. See, the 1050 Ti came out with a price tag of only $139 USD, making it really accessible to anybody. If you saved up another $260, you could pretty easily put together a PC that would outdo the PS4 Pro for cheaper than its MSRP of $399. To quite a few budget-oriented tech enthusiasts, that seemed like the perfect idea. With something like a 6th Gen i5 and 8 gigs of this ultra-fast, brand new DDR4 memory, along with a slow but reliable hard drive, you could pretty easily put together a system that would play all of the games that the PS4 Pro would, which mind you, a bunch of people are still playing on today, at 1080p and get better performance for a better price. Lucky for you guys, I've got a 1080p monitor, a GTX 1050 Ti, some 6th gen Intel stuff, and everything we would need to make a 2016 gaming PC. So let's get a crackin'. So with our 2015 spec PC, I decided to test 3 games: Fortnite, F1 2022, and Forza Horizon 5. The PS4 Pro would have played both Fortnite and F1 2022, but it wouldn't have played Forza Horizon 5. But honestly, I just wanted an excuse to play it. Anyways, you guys have waited long enough, so here are our results. In Fortnite at 1080p with the settings dropped to the floor, we averaged about 105 FPS with a low of 28 and a high of 115. With the settings cranked up to epic, we saw a big dip in performance, but a huge increase in visual fidelity. We averaged a barely playable 30 FPS with some huge stutters. The FPS bottomed out at 10 and peaked out at 45. F1 2022 was much more playable than Fortnite at epic, at least while testing at 1080p medium. We averaged 57 FPS but had peaks as high as 64 with lows being at 30. It was a very smooth and console-like gaming experience, and it was hugely playable. Now, before we get to our test results for Horizon 5, I am going to pause and ask you to like if you're enjoying the video. The support means a ton, and it allows me to keep making videos for you guys. If you want to come hang out with me and some of my subscribers, then feel free to join my Discord. It's free and linked in the description. On top of that, if you want to support the channel in any other way, feel free to become a channel member. There's some cool perks such as shoutouts at the end of the videos and free stickers if you subscribe to the right tier. Anyways, back to the testing. In Horizon 5 at low settings, we had a pretty playable experience. We averaged 65 FPS with highs of 79 and lows of 13. It was kind of stuttery, but it wasn't the worst gameplay I've experienced in Horizon. Now, that would have been with settings maxed out. The game launched into the test race and then immediately crashed. I can't give you guys results, but if it hadn't crashed, you could expect numbers in the low 10s as far as average FPS goes. Now that testing is done, let's talk. The 1050 Ti impressed me, it really did. It did much better than I thought an 8-year-old GPU with 4 gigs of VRAM could do. That performance is exactly what made the 1050 Ti such a versatile card and kept it relevant for so long. But that wasn't all that made it a card that I think should be considered one of NVIDIA's greatest GPUs ever made. No, it was that plus the fact that it's pretty compact, that it draws less than 75 watts, and that it was less than 150 bucks. The fact that it's less than 75 watts means that it can be powered off the PCIe slot alone, which means that it was the perfect drop-in upgrade for for any family's home PC. You wouldn't even need to touch the power supply and it would just work. On top of that, they made a small form factor version that could fit in these SFF cases, which I think is really impressive. Now, to really appreciate the significance of a $140 GPU that could outperform a console, let's jump back to 2006, the year of my birth. Yeah, millennials, you heard that right. I was born in 06. Get over it, you're old. Way back in 06, the gaming landscape was way different than it is today. You were either a rich nerd with money to burn, or you played on a console, and those were your options. The Xbox 360 and the Wii had launched in 2005, providing unique and different gaming experiences on each console. The PS3, in all its egg-shaped glory, released a year later in 06 and blew the socks off of everybody. To emphasize just how powerful the PS3 really was, listen to this, all right? In 2010, 4 years after the PS3 launched, the US government bought almost 1,800 of them to make a supercomputer that literally helped to develop AI. That's bonkers. That was the PS3. Now, why would they use a 4-year-old console instead of PC hardware? Well, because it was cheaper and it was more powerful. In fact, if in 2006 you wanted to match the PS3's gaming performance, you would have needed to spend well upwards of $700. No, I'm serious. I made a list and checked prices of parts in 2006 to prove this to you guys. The PS3 was only really matched by top-of-the-line hardware, which was very, very hard to get your hands on, especially if you were broke. Now compare that again to the PS4 Pro, which again, remember, is the highest-end PS4 you could get, and you start to understand why the 1050 Ti was such a big deal. The PS4 Pro was cheaper than the original PlayStation. The 1050 Ti was a quarter the price and can still blow its brains out. For the price of the PS4 Pro and almost half of the price of the PS3, you could get a gaming PC that would perform better than any console on the market. For a brief time, that's how the gaming landscape was. Today, you can kind of do the same thing, but you have to go for used hardware because nobody's selling good stuff anymore. Inflation's ruined this for us, and I think the 1050 Ti is a symbol of a bygone era, of a simpler time when stuff was cheap, life was good, and we all enjoyed everything. It came at the perfect time for the perfect price, and I think is the best GPU that NVIDIA has ever produced. Fight. If you guys have experience with a 1050 Ti or really anything, I want to hear it. Comment it down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Ryan, and I will catch you guys next time. Ryan, out.